Your truck has 180,000 miles on it. It still runs. You know every rattle, every quirk, every cold start habit. Then something fails, something electronic, and the parts counter tells you it has been discontinued. That moment is when most people find out whether they actually own their truck or whether they have just been borrowing it from a supply chain. In a recent video, we talked about what happens when manufacturers stop producing replacement parts for older vehicles. Not because the trucks are worn out, but because the economics of keeping a 20-year-old parts line running eventually stop making sense for the people running the warehouse. Emissions regulations change, suppliers move on, electronic components go obsolete faster than mechanical ones ever did. The result is that a perfectly functional truck can get sidelined by a single, unavailable component, a fuel system module, a body control module, a sensor that nobody stocks anymore. The response to that video was significant. A lot of you shared the same story: good truck, solid engine, stuck because of one piece of electronics that nobody can source. What came out of those comments, though, was not just frustration, it was problem solving. Owners and mechanics laid out real options, real approaches, real ways forward. That's what this video is about. Not complaining about the system, but working around it intelligently. Before we get into solutions, let's get one thing straight. Not every modification is legal everywhere. Not every swap passes emissions inspection. Not every aftermarket system is a drop-in replacement. If you are in California, or any state that follows enhanced emission standards, the legal pathways are narrower. What works in a rural state with no smog check is a different conversation than what works in a metro area with annual inspections. Know your local rules before you touch anything. That's not a disclaimer. That's just being smart with your money and your time. With that said, let's talk about what your actual options look like when a critical system on a truck from the late 90s to the mid-2000s becomes a problem. The three-tier decision ladder. When something fails on an older truck, you are essentially facing three directions. Each one has a different cost, a different complexity level, and a different long-term outcome. Mechanics who have been doing this a long time do not panic. They climb the ladder one rung at a time. Tier 1. Original equipment manufacturer style repair. The first move is always to try to fix what is there, or replace it with something equivalent. For a lot of components, this is still possible. Remanufactured engine control modules exist for many common platforms from this era. Salvage yards are an underrated resource. A 2001 Silverado with a blown engine might have a perfect body control module sitting in it. Online marketplaces have created a genuine secondary market for parts that dealerships no longer stock. If the component is electronic and can be reprogrammed, a qualified shop with the right scan tool can often do that. Reprogramming a replacement module is not always simple, but it is a legitimate repair path that keeps your truck in its original configuration, which matters a lot if you care about resale value or emissions compliance. Tier 1 usually costs the least in terms of complexity. The trade-off is availability. For some platforms, finding an OEM equivalent part takes patience, but it is almost always worth exhausting this option before moving on. Tier 2. Aftermarket replacement systems. When original-style parts are not available, or when the original system was marginal, even when it was new, aftermarket engineering steps in. This is where the real expertise lives. Standalone engine management systems are the clearest example. These are self-contained units, tunable, configurable, and completely independent of factory dealer software. They handle fuel delivery, ignition timing, and sensor inputs. If your factory engine control module is dead and no replacements exist, a standalone system can give your engine a brain that you actually have control over. Products like the Holley Terminator series are frequently mentioned for this application. Check compatibility for your specific engine and always verify whether it meets your local emissions requirements before purchasing. The same logic applies to transmission control. Some automatic transmissions from this era rely on the factory engine control module for shift commands. If you swap or modify the engine management, the transmission can lose its calibration. Standalone transmission controllers solve that. They are designed to work independently and can often be tuned to suit your specific combination of engine, transmission, and driving style. Again, check compatibility and local regulations. Sensor and wiring harness. Obsolescence is another real problem. Dry rotted or corroded harnesses can be a nightmare to chase. Several companies produce reproduction harnesses or harness segments for common platforms. For sensors specifically, a lot of the hardware from this era uses generic electrical specifications that the aftermarket has cataloged. A good mechanic with a wiring diagram can often find a modern equivalent sensor with the same output characteristics, even if the connector is different. Tier 2 costs more upfront and requires more expertise to install correctly. The benefit is long-term serviceability. Aftermarket systems are often better supported going forward than a 25-year-old factory unit. Tier 3, mechanical simplification. This is the option people talk about the most, and it needs honest context. The idea is straightforward: reduce dependency on electronics by moving towards simpler mechanical systems. Carbureted fuel delivery, distributor-based ignition, manual transmissions. Systems that can be diagnosed with a vacuum gauge and a timing light instead of a laptop. For engines from the early to mid-1980s and older, this is relatively straightforward. Those engines were designed for it. For engines from the late 1990s and early 2000s, like LS-based platforms, Vortec 5.8 engines, and modern diesel configurations, it is a significantly more complex undertaking. These engines were engineered around electronic fuel injection and individual coil pack ignition systems. Adapting them to carbureted setups requires fabrication, and in most jurisdictions, it creates emissions compliance issues that can make the vehicle illegal for road use. There are purists who do complete engine swaps, pulling a modern electronically dependent engine and replacing it with something older and simpler. That is a legitimate path for off-road only vehicles, project builds, and farm trucks that do not need to pass inspection. It is a major undertaking. It is not a weekend job. If you plan to drive the vehicle on public roads, research your state's regulations on engine swaps before you start cutting anything. Tier 3 requires the most commitment. It makes the most sense for off-highway applications, dedicated project vehicles, or situations where Tier 1 and Tier 2 have both been exhausted. Before you modify anything, 7 things to check. A lot of expensive mistakes happen because someone skipped the basics. Before you decide which tier applies to your situation, work through this list. 1. Verify the diagnosis. An engine control module that seems dead might have a bad ground, or a failed sensor feeding it bad data. Confirm the actual failure before assuming the control unit itself is gone. 2. Check your emissions requirements. Know whether your county or state requires inspections and whether the modification you are considering will pass. 3rd, pull the VIN and check for technical service bulletins. Some known failures on older platforms have documented solutions that do not require aftermarket intervention. 4. Price out salvage. Search salvage databases and forums specific to your vehicle before assuming a part is unavailable. The supply chain and the salvage network are 2 different things. 5. Assess your harness before you buy any controller. If the wiring is deteriorated, a new control unit will not fix the underlying problem. 6. Check what your transmission needs. If you modify engine management, Confirm whether your automatic transmission will still communicate correctly. 7. Document everything before you touch it. Photograph the connectors. Note wire colors. Keep the original components. Future you, or a future mechanic, will be grateful. 2 real scenarios. Here is what this actually looks like in practice. Scenario 1. A 2002 Silverado with a 5.3-liter LS engine. The engine control module has failed. The truck also has a 4L60E automatic transmission. No remanufactured engine control module is currently available from the usual sources. Salvage yards in the area do not have a match. This is a Tier 2 situation. A standalone engine management system designed for the LS platform can handle fuel and ignition. But because the 4L60E is electronically controlled, the owner also needs a standalone transmission controller to keep the shifts working correctly. Total cost is higher than a stock engine control module, but the result is a truck that does not depend on a 25-year-old piece of factory electronics. The owner now has full tuning access and a system supported by a company still in business. Scenario 2. A 2000 Ford F-250 with a 7.3 power-stroke diesel. The wiring harness under the hood has dry rotted significantly. Several sensors are throwing codes, and one sensor type is no longer stocked by the dealer. This is a Tier 1 and Tier 2 hybrid. The harness needs repair or partial replacement. A shop that specializes in diesel trucks from this era can often source reproduction harness sections or fabricate the damaged segments. The discontinued sensor needs cross-referencing against its electrical specification to find a compatible modern equivalent. This is not glamorous work, but it keeps the truck in a configuration that remains road legal and does not require major systems modification. A 7.3 power stroke in good condition is worth that investment. The trucks built between 1997 and 2007 occupy a specific window in automotive history. They are old enough that factory support is fading. They are new enough that going fully mechanical is not straightforward, but they are also the last generation of full-size work trucks built to be serviced by human hands, with access panels that make sense and systems that do not require a subscription to diagnose. Keeping them on the road is a legitimate act of practical ownership. The knowledge exists. The parts, in one form or another, exist. The community of people who have already solved these problems exists, and they share what they know. That is the real advantage here. Not a secret loophole, not a rebellion, just competence, documentation, and a refusal to give up on something that still works. What is the most creative fix you have found for a discontinued or obsolete part on a truck from this era? Drop it in the comments. Give a specific year, a specific component, and a specific solution. That information helps people who are searching for the same answer right now. And if this is the kind of content you are looking for, practical and no nonsense, built around real problems, subscribe. There is more coming.